Hello and welcome back to the Explore series, and this is our third practice together. Today we're looking at Asteya, the third of the yamas, the moral codes. Asteya means non-stealing. It can also be considered as non-greed. So I'm going to talk you through the kind of layers to that as we go through our practice together today. Come to a comfortable seat. You may want a blanket today. I'm sitting on one already to feel a bit comfier. But we are going to do some stuff on the knees, so a bit of extra cushioning for your knees is always nice. And then find a comfy seat, sit tall, relax your shoulders, let your hands come to rest. If you're comfortable with your eyes closed, then let your eyes close as we begin. Start to bring some attention to your breathing, drawing your breath in through your nose, releasing your breath out through your nose slowly. Slow breath in, slow breath out. And just gradually feel as your breath settles itself into a comfortable rhythm. Relaxing your jaw, your forehead, your shoulders, but keeping a little bit of effort in sitting tall, so the core, the lower back, still engaged here. As you settle in, I'm going to talk you through this concept, Asteya. So non-stealing. On the surface, this is quite obvious. We look to practice both on and off the yoga mat, not taking what doesn't belong to us. So that might include other people's possessions, but also their ideas, their creative property. So if you work online, for example, not taking other posts, blogs, content, without crediting the person who created it. That's quite a modern example of practicing Asteya. But the slightly deeper layer to Asteya, to non-stealing, is around the idea of envy, looking to other people and what they have and feeling envious, feeling jealous. So something that can be really helpful in when we consider this concept of Asteya is adopting an abundance mindset. If you're not familiar with that phrase, this is the mindset in which we see that there is plenty for everyone, whether that is possessions, wealth, power, status, whatever you may be striving for. Now, first of all, Asteya, this concept, invites us to look at why we're striving for things and to maybe let go of some of that greed, if it is greed. The abundance mindset teaches us that we can be happy for others with what they have, while understanding that it's possible for us to also have that thing in future. Someone else possessing something, whether that's a belonging, an item, or a skill, does not mean that they're taking anything away from you. So this is the abundance mindset, and we'll come back to this idea a little bit later. Just something to keep in mind throughout the practice. Now let's bring the hands together in Anjali Mudra, this prayer-like position in front of the heart. Sit a little taller now. You're doing really well. I know the hips and the lower back might be feeling a little tired already. We won't be here much longer. We'll set our intentions now to practice Asteya throughout the class today. Non-stealing, non-greed. And I'll tell you how you can bring that into your physical practice shortly. We'll also set the intention to practice ahimsa. So you may remember from the first practice in this series, non-harming, not pushing past our body's limits, coming out of poses and resting when we need to. Take a nice deep breath in and release your breath out. And when you feel ready, you could open your eyes. Lovely. We're going to move straight to tabletop position today. So coming around to your hands and knees. If you have a blanket, bring it under your knees so you can fold the blanket out and give your knees a little bit more support. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders, coming straight into cat and cow today. Spread out through your fingers. Take a slow breath in as you lift your head, arch your back, lift through your chest. Take a slow breath out, round your back and press your back towards the ceiling. Inhale, coming forwards, lift your head. Exhale, round your back, tuck your chin, press through your hands. Keep going now at your own pace, synchronizing your breath with your movement. Now we're working through some fairly strong postures, some back bend postures today. So building strength through the back of the body, improving flexibility through the spine as well. Let's take one more cycle of breath with cat and cow. And then coming back to a neutral spine, tabletop position. Bring your knees closer together, your feet closer together as well. Tuck your toes and stretch out your feet by sitting back like this. So you can sit all the way back. If that feels way too much, just lean forwards a little bit or lift up a little bit. Go to where you feel your safe limit is for today. And then loop your shoulders back a few times, a couple of big shoulder circles. And then wrap your arms around behind your back and interlace your fingers with your palms as close together as you can get them. Squeeze your shoulder blades back and together. Breathe here. We're going into a variation on child's pose next. I want you to try and untuck your toes while keeping your shoulders squeezing behind you. And then start to dive forwards with your chest, lifting your knuckles up, squeezing shoulders together, and just resting your head to the ground. If your head doesn't quite reach the ground, you could stay here, that's fine. If you find you need to lift the hips up like this, that's fine as well. Squeeze through the shoulders. One more breath here. And then slowly come all the way back up to sit. Take a breath in, lift your chest, lift your heart. Exhale, let your arms release. Well done. Come back to tabletop position. So knees are under the hips, hands under the shoulders. Send your right leg back and find a balance here. I want you to think about your left leg, so the knee and foot that are on the ground. Think about pressing the front or the top of your left foot down into the ground to keep you steady. And then bend your right knee and reach your right toes up towards the ceiling. Lift through your right foot, press down through your left foot. Press through both hands as well, straighten out the arms. Try lifting your head to look forwards. Take a breath in. As you exhale, round your back and squeeze your knee in towards your nose, curling everything inwards. Inhale, send your foot back and straight up to the ceiling, keeping that 90-degree bend in the knee. Exhale, bring it forward, squeezing in, nose to knee. Inhale, one more time, lifting up, lift your chest. Exhale, squeezing in. Inhale, reach your foot back up, pause here this time, press down through the left foot and try sending your left arm forwards and find a balance. This might be feeling really tough. You can leave it, you can come out and rest whenever you need. Be kind with your body, but if you're feeling strong here, if you feel like it's safe, keep lifting through your hand, lift through your foot. One more breath. And then release your hand, release your knee, and take a little breather. Well done. Really firing up through the glutes, through the hamstrings, through the lower back. We're going to take it to the other side. So make sure your hands are back under your shoulders, knees under hips. Send your left leg back. Find this balance first. See if you can press down through the top of your right foot to keep you more stable. Then bend your knee, lift your toes towards the ceiling. Straighten your arms, lift through your chest. Take a breath in. On the exhale, round your back, squeeze your knee in towards your nose. Inhale as you send your leg back and lift up. Exhale, bring it forwards, knee to nose, squeezing, pressing through the palms. Last one, inhale, reach the toes up to the ceiling. Exhale, round your back, bring your knee in. Inhale, send that leg up. On the exhale, we're pausing here. Press down through the right foot. See if you can take your right arm forwards and find a balance. Again, stay with your breath. You can come out whenever you need to. One more breath here. Release the hand, release the knee. Bring your big toes together. Take your knees nice and wide now. And sit back with your hips. So drop your hips to your heels, stretch out your arms and come down into a child's pose, resting your forehead to the ground. Alternatively, you could bring your hands under your forehead. Take a few breaths here and let your jaw relax. Letting go of any tension that might have arrived, particularly through your jaw, through your forehead, when you were doing that challenging movement. Taking another breath here. And then lifting up to tabletop position. Bring your knees under your hips, hands under shoulders, tuck the toes and lift into downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. You can start to pedal through your feet a little bit here, stretching out the legs. Relax your head between your arms. Anytime you need it, exhaling through the mouth is a nice way to release some heat, some tension. And then looking forwards, walk your feet up towards your hands. Coming into Uttanasana, forward fold. Let your arms and your head be really heavy here. Soften your knees a little bit, let your arms dangle. Take a deep breath. And then slow and steady, roll up your spine, coming all the way up to stand. As you lift up, big circles back with your shoulders again. And release, coming to mountain pose, Tadasana. So we open out the palms and stand tall. Okay, let's go into our little sequence to build a little bit more heat, and then we're going to move into a pose called Tiger. We've done a version of it already, but we're going to take it a little further. So inhale as you reach your arms wide, bring your palms together overhead. On your exhale, bring your arms round and behind your back, interlace your fingers, squeeze your shoulder blades back and together. Take a breath in. On your exhale, bend your knees, bring your belly towards your thighs. Try and keep your shoulders really squeezing together as you relax your head down. So don't worry about how deep into the forward fold you can go. Focus on keeping the shoulders engaged. One more breath here. And then gently release your arms, let your hands drop towards the ground. Take a breath in to lift halfway. Bring your hands to your shins, lift your head to look forwards. Exhale to lower. Step your right foot back into a low lunge. Take a fairly long step back. Drop your knee to the mat, maybe leaving the blanket there for a bit of padding. And really try and lengthen out this lunge. So instead of being here, we're going to shuffle the knee a little further back, keeping the front knee stacked on top of the heel. Now bring your hands onto your front thigh, press down onto your thigh and lift through your chest. Try untucking your back toes and pressing the front of your back foot down into the ground. So you want to really feel this hip opening up here. Nice. Take your right arm up to the ceiling. Take a big breath in. Exhale, small side bend over to the left. Maybe feeling that stretch deepen. Another breath here. Inhale, reaching up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring your hand down to the mat. Turn to the left, reach your left arm up. There's the option to lift the back knee here or to keep it lowered. Go with what feels right for you today. Take a breath in. Exhale, release your hand to the mat. Step into plank. You can always lower the knees to half plank if you need here, building strength through the upper body. Take a breath in. Exhale to come all the way down to the belly. Again, you can lower the knees first if you need to. Point your toes back, squeeze your shoulder blades back and together, lifting into cobra. Inhale as you come up. Exhale as you release down. Keep the legs active by pointing the toes. Lift your hands to just hover above the mat like this. And then lift your chest as much as you can. Squeeze your elbows in towards the sides of your body. Point your toes, squeeze your thighs together and try and lift through your legs. Staying for 2 more breaths here. Really switching on all the muscles along the back of the body. And then gently releasing down. We're going to press back up to the hands and knees from there. And then sit back into child's pose just for a couple of breaths. Stretching out through your back. And then lifting back up to downward dog from there. So up to the knees, tuck the toes, lift the hips high. Just a breath or 2 here, maybe shaking out your head, pedaling out the feet. There's the option to lift the right leg and take 3-legged dog here. If it's not for you, you can leave this one. But if it is for you, send that leg up, try and straighten both of your arms, press through your hands, take a breath in. On the exhale, leading with the right foot, we're stepping all the way to the top of the mat, back to Uttanasana, forward fold. From there, inhale to sweep your arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring hands down through center and back to mountain pose. Take a few breaths to reset. Notice how you found that sequence. We're going to repeat it on the other side in just a moment. But give yourself a little recovery time. And then we'll go the other way. So from the top of your mat, inhale, reach your arms up overhead, palms together. Exhale, reach your arms round behind your back, interlace your fingers, squeeze your shoulders back. Lift through your chest, inhale. Exhale, soften your knees, bring your belly to your thighs, keep the shoulders squeezing together as you lift your knuckles up. Relax your head down. Take a breath in. On the exhale, release your arms down to the ground. Inhale, halfway lift, bring the hands to the shins, look forwards. Exhale, lower, step your left foot back into that deep lunge position. So really stepping back with the left foot and making sure the front knee is stacked on top of the heel. Bring your hands to your thigh, lifting up, looking forwards, sinking down into the hip, releasing the toes at the back. Breathe. Opening up along the front of the left hip now. Take your left arm up to the ceiling, inhale. Exhale, take it slightly over to the right side, bend. Inhale, reaching up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring your left hand to the ground. Turn to the right and reach your right arm up. Option to lift the back knee here or keep it lowered. Do what you did on the other side. Inhale. Exhale, bring your hand down, stepping back to plank from there. Inhale to hold. Exhale to release down to the ground. Point your toes, lift into Cobra, Bhujangasana. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, releasing down. This time bring your hands behind your back, interlace your fingers, squeeze the shoulders together and reach your knuckles towards the back of your mat. See if you can lift your arms away from your body slightly. Point your toes, lift through your legs, locust pose. Going for 3 breaths here, as long as it feels safe. So if it's not feeling safe, come out of the pose. Listen to your body. And then gently releasing when you're ready. Bring your hands back under your shoulders, pressing onto the knees and sitting back into a child's pose for a few breaths. Stretching out and releasing through your back. Now, In a few moments, we're going to come into tiger pose, this slightly stronger, often quite challenging back bend posture. So the way we can practice Asteya, non-stealing, with poses like this, challenging poses, is being content with where we are today, not reaching or striving or pushing beyond the limit of what our bodies are capable of today. When we're in a group class environment, another way we can practice Asteya is trying not to look around the room and feel envious of what other people can do. Coming back to that abundance mindset, looking around the room and seeing what other people are capable of, we can think of that as reassurance, evidence that it's possible for ourselves as well, rather than looking at other people as competition. So just something to keep in mind when you're going to classes, trying to reframe what might feel like jealousy or envy, looking at other people, being happy for them with what they're able to do, and knowing that it means that you could maybe be able to do that one day if you wanted to practice. So now coming up to downward facing dog when you're ready, and just keeping that in mind when we go into this next section, when we go into tiger pose. Not stealing, not being greedy about where you want the pose to go, listening to your body and respecting its limits today. Take your left leg up into three-legged dog. If you practiced it on the other side, take a breath in. On the exhale, leading with the left foot, we'll step to the top of the mat. Uttanasana, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, back to mountain pose, Tadasana. Relax your shoulders. Take a breath. Okay, so we're going to head into tiger pose next. We're coming back down to the ground for this one. So from mountain pose, take a breath in. Exhale on your way down, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, looking forwards. Exhale as you lower, stepping back to tabletop position. So take one foot back and then the other, coming to the hands and the knees. Knees are about hip distance apart, hands are under the shoulders. Now we're taking the right leg back, bending the knee and reaching the toes up. Same action we did earlier. Try to press down through the top of your left foot to keep you steady. Lift through your right leg. See if you can send your left arm forwards and find a balance. Now I can feel here that my right hand is a little too far forwards here. I need to bring it under my shoulder. So I'm going to reposition. You might need to do the same. Make sure your wrist is stacked under your shoulder to support you. Now the way we can add on to this is reaching back, squeezing the right foot in a bit closer and see if you can take hold. Now this is where we practice not stealing, not being greedy with the pose. If it's not quite there today, don't reach for it, don't strain, don't hurt yourself. Take your arm back forwards and stay with this version. If it is there today, you could try lifting your foot, lifting your chest, and we're going for maximum 3 more breaths here, but whenever you feel you've reached your limit, just releasing and coming back to sit for a moment. So maximum of 3 breaths in the pose. Be kind with yourself, lifting through the chest, lifting through the foot, and when you're ready to come out, sit back and take a breather. Maybe rolling the wrists, rolling the neck. Nice. We'll try it on the other side in a moment. Have a little shake out, whatever you need. Let your body recover. And let's give it a go. So again, not striving beyond what your body's capable of today. Trying to find peace with exactly where your level of flexibility is right now. Knowing that it will change as you practice more, but you don't need to be pushing or straining to get into something deeper today. Okay, so sending the left leg back, bend the knee, lift the foot up towards the ceiling, straighten out the arms, lift through your chest. See if you can send the right arm forwards. Make sure you have your left hand stacked under your shoulder. And then you can squeeze the foot in, Reach around with your right hand, see if it's within reach. If it is, lift through the foot, lift through the chest, tiger pose. If it's not quite there, don't strain, don't strive, reach forwards, lift through your foot. And again, maximum 3 full breaths here. When you're ready to come out of the pose, gently release and sit back. Really strong, powerful back bend posture. Releasing when you're ready. Sit back, bring your hands down by your sides and let your forehead come all the way down into child's pose. Deepen your breath now. Slowly lift up to a seated position. Take your blanket out of the way. We're coming down to the ground. So releasing that strong, challenging posture. Come to your back and bring your knees in. Take a little gentle movement side to side with your knees. You could close your eyes again now if you'd like. And let your feet come to the mat with a little bit of space between them. Open your arms out wide with the palms facing up, moving things out of the way if you need to. And let both of your knees drop over to the right, turning your head slightly to the left if your neck is comfortable there. Let your breath settle into a steady, comfortable rhythm again. No tension around the jaw, around the forehead. Another breath here. And then slowly bring your knees through the center and let them drop over to the left, turning your head slightly to the right. As we start to wind down, you can choose at the end of the practice to stay laying down, maybe cover yourself over with your blanket, get comfy, or you could choose to come up to a seated position. So we'll take one more breath here in the twist pose, and then bring your knees back to center. So coming to either a resting posture laying on your back, or coming up to a seated position and taking a seated meditation to close. And as always in this series, I'm asking you questions, something to consider and reflect on in our last few minutes together. So get yourself comfy and settled, whether you're laying down or sitting up. Relax your forehead, relax your jaw. And today's question or reflection is around the concept of non-stealing, non-greed, Asteya, and around the concept of abundance as well. So my question for you today is this. What is something that causes you to feel envious of others? How could you reframe your envy with an abundance mindset? What is something that causes you to feel envious of others? How could you reframe your envy with an abundance mindset? take a slightly deeper breath. And bring your hands together in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. Thank you for joining me for this practice. If you are resting on your back, I invite you to take some more time there to rest. No rush to get on, to get moving. I hope that this practice has given you something to reflect on, the way that you may practice Asteya in your life, not just on your yoga mat, but more broadly in your life off your yoga mat. I look forward to seeing you for our next practice together, which will be a relaxing yin yoga practice. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you next time.